Adding a watermark to your images can be a great way to make sure that your art is not stolen online. However, it's also a great way to create brand and artist recognition. So that way, when your photo is shared around social media and on the web, people can always know who took that photo and can be brought back to your website and your social media to see more of your work. But adding watermarks can sometimes be a little too complicated to even bother, or it's very time consuming, so we don't take the time to do it. But in this video, I'm going to share with you my top 3 favorite ways to add watermarks to your images that seriously only takes a couple seconds and they're super easy to learn. So let's hop right in. Before I show you any of the 3 ways to add a watermark to your photos, you first need to make sure that you actually have a watermark, right? So if you don't have one, I suggest creating a simple one in a tool like Canva. So Canva is an online tool and it's basically like a simplified version of Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop. So if you hop on there, you can create a very simple watermark in a matter of hours. So the link to Canva is down in the description below. But if you purchased a template, logo or watermark from a template shop, or if you made yourself one in Illustrator, or even if you hired a designer, you should already have everything you need. Just make sure that the watermark you're using is in PNG format. So PNG is a file format a little bit like JPEG, except PNG allows you to have transparency. So transparency will allow you to place your watermark on top of an image without having a solid block of color. So let's say like my logo or my watermark, if you have a little mountain, that mountain can be cut out and I'm not stuck with a square block of white. If your logo fits really well with a square, solid block of color, then keep it. This all comes down to personal choice, but if you're looking for something that is cut out and you don't know how to do that, make sure you export it as PNG format and select to have transparency. Now, if this all sounds way too complicated and you don't want to take the time to even create a logo or purchase one, don't worry, because in method number 2 and number 3 that I'm going to show you later on in this video, you can create just a simple text watermark directly in those programs. So you don't even need to bother with anything I just said about having a picture or a PNG file. So if that's your case, just stick around for method number 2 and method number 3, and I'll walk you right through it. Okay, welcome to my desktop. The very first option I'm going to show you to add watermarks is with my absolute favorite tool called BlogStomp. So BlogStomp can do many things, but for adding watermarks, it seriously changes the game because it makes it so simple, and it's again very simple to just batch a whole bunch of photos at once, and it'll add your watermark to all these photos all at once without taking forever and by saving you a lot of time. So BlogStomp is definitely an essential part of my photography workflow. So if you don't already have BlogStomp, I highly suggest you go take a peek at it because it is seriously amazing, and it's like only $50, and that's super cheap for an awesome photography tool. So if you want to grab it, or if you just want to take a peek, go take a look at the link in the description below. And in case you only wanted to give it a try, there's also a free trial that you can download with that same link down below. So go take a peek at it. All right, step 1, we are going to create a new style sheet. So a new style sheet in BlogStomp is actually just a collection of settings that you can reapply to new sets of images over and over. So you can save multiple different style sheets with either different watermarks on them or different export settings. That way you can choose which ones you want to apply to your photos, and you can do that over and over. So let's create your first style sheet. First thing you're going to do is go to settings up here, and then we're going to click on styles. In the left-hand sidebar down here, you can see that I have a whole bunch of different style sheets already saved. So once you start creating a lot, you're going to see yours over here as well. But to create a new one today, we're going to click add down here, and then that'll create your brand new one. Now let's just start by renaming it. You can rename it whatever you like, but I'm going to write watermark tutorial. Okay, once you've renamed it, let me just walk you through a few of these settings here. So first off, you can choose the image width. This will be the size of the image once you export it. So for my blog, I actually keep it at 2500 pixels wide. And then the border, you can choose to have a border around your image. I choose to keep no border, and if you want to unlock this, the margin is actually just a border inside. So if you decided to make like a collage or like a gallery of photos one beside each other, that margin would be just for the inside borders, but I'm going to keep it at 0. Now outer stroke and inner stroke is just the stroke around it. You can have a different color for that, and inner stroke is just the lines inside of the image. Now the tab height, you can create a tab to make your photo almost just look like a Polaroid image. So to have a white tab at the bottom here. This is interesting because in case you wanted to have a logo for which you didn't have a PNG file or just a logo that doesn't look good overlaid on an image, you could create a tab here and then have your logo living on this white tab down here. So your logo would always have its own spot and it would never be overlaid over your image itself. So that is up to you, but I like no tab at all. Now corners is if you want rounded corners. Again, square corners for me, so 0. And then JPEG quality is just the quality of the JPEG once you export your photo. I just keep it at the 95 here. I've done a few tests and this just seems like the best quality for me. Now we get to the important part here, is the logo. So this is where you're going to import your watermark. So step 2 is to bring in your watermark from your computer into BlogStomp. So to do that, we're going to click Add. This will open up a Finder window or just a My Computer window if you're on a PC. Now go ahead and locate your watermark. I'm going to choose this one for the sake of this tutorial. Click Open, and here we have it. So you see, now because I have a PNG, this little mountain here is cut out. Otherwise, I would have a I would have to have a background all around it to make it a square or a rectangle. But because it's a PNG, I can have it cut out. Now I did choose to leave the white in here, but if I remove this white, this would be transparent as well. So you can decide to resize your watermark however you like. I'm going to bring it a lot smaller, and I like it positioned in the bottom left-hand corner. You can choose to have it wherever you like. This is just where I prefer it. And then you can choose to lock it to the left and then lock it to the bottom. So this just means that whatever size your image is, BlogStomp will always place your logo in this bottom corner. So it actually just tells you here now. Your logo will be positioned 72 pixels from the left edge and 36 pixels from the bottom edge. So that's just to kind of confirm what you just checked off over here. So once you're happy with all these settings, click OK, and that'll save your brand new style sheet. So back in the freestyle or batch window, the only difference between these is that freestyle will allow you to create collages or export each image with a different style sheet, and batch will simply just take every photo that you import in here and export it the same. So batch is great if you want to add the same setting to 100 or 1,000 photos at once, and freestyle is if you kind of want to build each photo individually. So for now, I'm just going to open up a window and find a few photos to bring in here to show you. So let me just select these at random and then drag them in here. Now here we go. My photos are inside of BlogStomp. Now if I click on a photo, it'll give me a preview, and just make sure that the style you have picked down here is the one that you've just created. So if I wanted to, let's say, pick another style that I have, I would pick it from the drop-down menu here, but I've just picked the one that I just made, which is called Watermark Tutorial, and that's why I see this watermark here. So you still do have the option of moving it around once you're in here, but it will position itself in the spot that you did place it when you created your style sheet. So once you're happy with everything, just click Stomp it, and BlogStomp will do its thing and export your photo with your watermark, and it's that simple. And now you could just go through and export each photo individually, or like I said earlier, if you go in the batch window, it will actually, once you click stomp it, it will actually just click each photo one after the other. So there you have it. That was BlogStomp. BlogStomp is probably my favorite way to add watermarks to photos. So the way I personally do it is I export all my high-res photos from Lightroom, and then I bring them into BlogStomp to actually reduce the file size and add watermarks all at the same time. And by dragging all my photos in here, even if I drag in 1,000 photos, I can just have it on the batch window, click stomp it, and BlogStomp will do them all one after the other without any hesitation, and it's super simple. So if you have any questions about BlogStomp, just let me know in the comments below, and I'm going to hop into method number 2 for adding watermarks. Okie dokie, second possible method to add watermarks to your photos is to use Lightroom. The only downside to using Lightroom is that it's just a little bit more complex to use, especially if you hadn't already edited your photos in Lightroom. So if you want to add watermarks and you're not already using Lightroom to edit your photos, I suggest using one of the other 2 methods. But if you're already importing everything into Lightroom, editing them, and then exporting them, adding your watermark directly from here is also a great option. Lightroom also comes at a much higher price point, so it isn't as affordable for someone starting out, but I still swear by Lightroom, and you do have a few more customization options in here than you do in BlogStomp. So when it comes to watermarks, I just couldn't leave this one off the list. So let's go through the steps right now. Okay, step number 1 is to add or create your watermark. So you're going to want to go into the Lightroom menu and click Edit Watermarks. This will open up a window where you have 2 options. You can either select a graphic style watermark, or you can create a text style watermark directly in here. So as I said in the introduction, if you don't want to create a watermark from scratch, or if you don't want to take the time to create a PNG file or a JPEG file, this is a great option for you because you can create one just by writing out the text here and choosing a nice little font. You can add a drop shadow, and there you go, you are done. So let me walk you through these 2 options right now. Okay, first, let me walk you through the graphic style watermark. You would just check off this little box here, and that'll open up a window on your computer. Go ahead and find where your watermark is saved, select the right one, and click choose. Now this will open it up in this editor window right here. Now let me walk you through the options here under watermark effects. You can bring down the opacity. I'm going to keep it fully opaque, so at 100%. You can change the size of your watermark. I'm going to keep it right about here. And then you can change the inset. So the inset is not actually to move it around, it's just how far is your watermark going to be from the edge. So if you actually want to change it, change position, you would have to click anchor right here. So if I want it in this top corner, I would check off this circle in the top left corner, and then I can add a little bit more inset if I want it off the edge a little bit. So there we go. And once I'm happy with this, I would click save. But first, let me walk you through the text style watermark. Okay, choosing the text style watermark is a great option if you haven't created a logo yet, or if you simply don't want to. So start by typing out whatever you want your watermark to read in this bottom left-hand box down here. I'm going to keep it simple and just have the year and my name. Just a little note, if you want to add this little copyright symbol here on your Mac, it's option G, and on a PC, I'm not sure, but I'll add that in the description below in case you have a PC Windows computer. Now, in the text options here, you can change the font to match your branding. You can change the style, so if you want it bold or regular. Alignment will adjust if you have, if you have 2 different lines here, I can add something else here. Now, your alignment will fix this for you. You can change the color of your text. And last but not least, you can add a drop shadow. So a drop shadow is great to help make your text more legible or stand out on certain photos. Let's say your photo is mostly white and you want to make your white font more legible. Adding a drop shadow will help out with that. Or even if your photo is very busy and you find that your watermark is disappearing into the background, adding a drop shadow will definitely help with that. So let me show you what it does. Opacity will be how dark is the drop shadow, so you can see that adding here, and look how much it makes it stand out with the drop shadow. Now I'm going to keep it somewhere around here. Offset will just be how far the drop shadow is from your actual text. I don't want it too far. Radius will be how spread out your watermark is, so if you want it really defined, you would have that at 0, and if you want it kind of blurred out, then you would bring it up closer to the center. And then angle is just where, like, what direction your shadow is facing. I always like it towards the right and below a little bit, and that would be like if you had a light up here, but that's just my personal choice. You can play around with it and figure out what you like. Now, before we actually go ahead and click save, we're going to save all these settings so you can use it over and over. So in order to save it, whether you're on text or graphic style, it doesn't matter. You would click up here, and here you can also access everything you've already saved. So these are a few of the ones I've already saved, but let's save what I just created. So you click on Save Current Settings as New Preset. You just give it a name. So let's say Watermark Tutorial, and click Create. Now all these current settings here will be saved, and I can access it at any time and come back and edit it as well if I want. So if I click back on this sometime in the future, I can come back and change something. For example, if I wanted to change my drop shadow a little bit, now this will say edited. So if I want to resave all these settings, I can just go update preset watermark tutorial with these settings, and now it's been saved. So now, once you're happy with everything, we can go ahead and click done. So you can do that over and over with however many different watermark styles that you want. So maybe you have 2 different photography businesses, or you have 2 different watermark options that you want to use for different situations. You can go ahead and save all those to save yourself the trouble, and then every time you export your photos, I'm going to show you that in the next step, you can just select which one you want to choose. Okay, we're back in the library now, and the last step is to simply export our photos with our chosen watermark. So you would go File, Export, or you can just simply click it down here. So File, Export. Now you have a ton of options here, and I won't go through all these options today, but the one thing you want to pay attention to is the little watermarking menu here. So this is where you would go ahead and choose what watermark you want. So like me, if you have a couple of them, you can choose which one you want to apply to the photos that you've selected, and then you would simply click Export. And there you go. Once you click export, wherever you've chosen your photos to be saved, they'll all be exported with the watermark that you just created. Alright, this third way of adding watermarks can be done with either your smartphone or your computer. This is great if you want to add watermarks to photos that are already on your smartphone and you want to save yourself the trouble of bringing them onto your computer only to bring them back onto your phone afterwards. So there are many apps out there that are specifically designed to add watermarks to photos, but after downloading and testing out a handful of them, I actually just found them quite clunky, and none of them were free, which is what I was looking for. Well, they had light versions, but honestly, the light versions lacked in features, and maybe they added their own watermark on it until you purchased the product. So I just found that the Canva app became the best phone option in my opinion. And Canva can also be used on your computer, so this is a great way of kind of showing you both options. And here's just a little tip. Canva isn't really made to watermark many images at once. I would suggest using Canva on your phone if you're looking to just watermark maybe 1 or 2 photos at a time to post on social media. So let's say you took a cool photo, you have it on your phone, and you want to post it immediately on Facebook or Instagram. You can use Canva to just quickly add a watermark and then be done with it. But if you're looking to batch watermark, let's say 1,000 photos after a big shoot, then this is definitely not your best option. For that, I would suggest the first method I show you, which is BlogStomp. But either way, this is still a great option, so let me walk you through it. Step number 1, like in Lightroom, you have very many options here. You can either choose to write out a simple watermark or import your own graphic, or like I mentioned above, you can even create one from scratch in here. I'm not going to show you how to create one from scratch. I'm only going to show you how to add a watermark if you already have the file, or to create one with text. Let's walk through option number 1, which is using a graphic watermark. So if you already have a PNG or a JPEG, this option is for you. Because your file is probably already saved on your computer, I'm going to show you how to bring it into Canva on the computer, and then after that we're going to hop onto the phone and I'll show you how to do it from there. But don't worry, if you import something into Canva on your computer or anything that you create on your computer, it will also be available on any other device that you're using Canva. So if you're using the Canva app, anything you do on the app or anything you do on your desktop will be available on each. So that is the beauty of having a cloud-based tool like Canva. So to import our graphic, we first need to choose a design. Now, just make sure that you choose a design that has the same dimensions of the image you want to finally export. For example, if the photo you're watermarking is for Instagram, you might want to choose just the square Instagram post design. But if your photos are for Facebook or your blog, you might want to choose something that has a more rectangular, more of a regular image dimensions, or if you know the exact dimensions of your photos, you can just create one using your own custom dimensions, either in inches, millimeters, or pixels. Your choice. Just know that whatever you choose, that'll be the end dimensions of the photo that you export. So for the sake of this example, I'm just going to choose the Instagram post here, which is just going to be a square canvas. So your design will open up like this, just a white square ready for you to put your photo. But first we're going to go grab our watermark. So to do that, you would go to the left-hand sidebar here, down to Uploads, and then you can choose Upload Your Own Images. If you click this, it'll open up a window on your computer where you can go ahead and choose your watermark. I've already done that because it does take a minute or two, so mine just appears right here. Now we're definitely going to want to adjust the size and the placement, so I'm going to bring mine down to about this size, and again I'm going to place it in the bottom left-hand corner like so. You will always be able to adjust the size and the placement once you bring in your photo. So if you see that for this particular photo, it would look best in this corner and a little bigger, you can do that later on in the app. Don't worry about it. This is just to kind of get you going and make it easier once you're in the app, because it is just a little bit more complicated using your phone because the screen is smaller, obviously. So if we can get it mostly looking perfect in here, that'll save us some time later on. So you can create as many different pages as you like with different watermarks. So to do that, you would just click down here and click Add New Page. And then if you had another watermark, you could drag it in from here, place it on here, and then now you can choose which watermark looks better for each one of your photos. So with the second page here, I'm going to show you how to create the text watermark. So that's option 2 in case you didn't have your own JPEG. So if you do want to create a simple text watermark, navigate up here to the text button in the left-hand corner, left-hand sidebar, and click on any of these text fonts. Don't worry about what the font looks like or what the color or the size is. We're going to change all that in a bit. So once you click on it, it's going to add it to your design right here. Now this is pretty intuitive, so let's go ahead and edit what our watermark is going to say. I'm just going to choose something simple like the year and then my name. And we have all the options here to change the font. And then we can change the size and the color. I'm going to keep it white because that usually looks best on photos. And that's about it. You can also change the opacity of it here, but this will be easier to do once we have a photo underneath, because now that my font is white, I can't even see it. So I can do that on the app itself once I import my photo. I'm just going to move this in the corner here to get it ready for me, and I'm going to hop onto my phone and show you what to do from there. Alright, here I am in the app on my phone. Now we're going to want to click on Your Designs to find what we just created, and tap on the one you want to use. Now this is the one I just made. And I have my 2 pages here with my graphic watermark on this one and my text watermark on this one. So just remember the text is white on this one, so you won't be able to see anything until I actually add a photo, but I promise it is there. Now tap anywhere in the white here to open up this little menu below your design. I'm going to click on Camera Roll, and this will open up all the photos that I have saved on my phone. Once you've found the photo you want to watermark, just click on it, and Canva will automatically now add it to my design. Now you see how my watermark is disappearing here a little bit in the grass? I can edit that by simply clicking on it, and now I can change the opacity if I wanted to, but that's not what I want to do here. I actually want to move it up in the top left-hand corner because it'll show up there a lot nicer on the white sky. I can do that by just clicking this little cross arrow here and drag it across. Now that I'm happy with that, let's go see how this second text watermark that I created looks with the photo. So same steps here, just tap anywhere in the white, click Camera Roll, and I'm going to choose a photo. Let's pick this one. Now here I can edit this watermark even more. If I tap on it, I can change the color, but I'm going to keep it white because it looks great in white on this photo. But I'm going to bring down the opacity just a little bit so it doesn't bother the image as much. And I could change the color, but I do like it white, so I'm going to keep it there. I will click Done. I could change the font here if I wanted to. I could put it in italic, a whole bunch of stuff. So just play around with this and find something that you're happy with. So you can do this over and over again with different photos. So if I want to post this photo today, I can export that. Now, for example, if I wanted to share this photo tomorrow, I can just come back into the app, add this photo, and then save this, and then it'll be saved with my same watermarks. So last but not least, to save it, you would just click Share up here. Canva's just going to make the magic happen. And then from here, if I click Share, I can save it to multiple different places. So there you have it, my friends. Those are my 3 favorite ways to add watermarks to my images. If you have any suggestions or maybe another tool that I forgot to mention, leave it down in the comments below. And if you have any questions, also leave them down in the comments below. I always go through them and I'd be happy to help you out. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe and hit that bell so you can be notified whenever I post future videos. Last but not least, if you'd like to be a part of a group of like-minded photographers and online business owners, don't forget to join my Facebook group called The Creative Peak. That link to join the group is in the description below, and in there you can post questions and have other people than myself helping you out and answering your questions. You can post your photos and ask for constructive criticism. You can ask maybe what kind of gear people are using, and it's just a great way to make friends with other people who like the same hobbies and who are doing the same things as you are. So I really hope you join the group, and I cannot wait to see you in there.